It's back. Well, if you've been a subscriber of mine for a really long time, you've seen this truck before. I owned this truck about 8 years ago. Sold it to a friend on one condition. I told him if he ever wanted to get rid of it, give me first dibs at it. So when he called me a few weeks ago and said he was going to sell it, I had to buy it back. Having just bought a Jeep Wrangler, I really was not in the market for this vehicle again, but I couldn't let it go. I figured, why not? So I got it back. Over the years, it hasn't been driven a whole lot, but a lot of things have gone wrong with the Ranger that now I have to fix. So real quick, a little bit of history. When I originally bought this truck, they had just done a Explorer 5-liter drivetrain swap on it. So basically they just dropped the engine transmission in, and it was a pretty sloppy job. It's not the hardest thing to do to put an Explorer engine and transmission in here. I've got some videos from the past about more on that, but I had to do a ton of work just making everything actually work the way it should. There was not even like a proper engine fan, all this stuff. I added AC. It looks pretty stock under here. That was a point in one of my videos. Just you open the hood and it looks kind of like it came this way, I think. The truck does have a 3-inch body lift and a suspension lift. It's got Skyjacker springs on the front, custom leafs in the rear. It does have Rancho shocks front and rear, and a 31 spline 8.8 rear end with disc brakes out of an Explorer as well. If you have an older Ranger that the engine blows on, obviously it's a great candidate to do a 5.0 swap, and I'm talking a real 5.0, the 302 pushrod version, not the Coyote engine. This was built way before that was even a thing. So everything does work. It's got hot heat, cold air conditioning, runs down the road okay. It's got newer 33 by 12.5 inch tires on it, on steel rims. That's what it had when I sold it, but it had Goodyears on it. These are some kind of generic mud terrain tire, but they actually ride decent for being how aggressive they are. The truck has obviously, paint-wise, seen better days. There's no big holes in it or anything. This is a lot of the work that I did to it. It's pretty solid. The hood is in rough shape. It's kind of like an interesting patina, I guess. Same thing with the roof. Could leave it that way. Could paint it. I'm not really so focused on the looks of the truck, more the mechanical right now. Frame has rusted more over the years. There's a decent amount of surface rust, but nothing horrible. Nothing that can't be cleaned up and fixed with some fluid film. So you can see it's pretty straight. Both sides, no major issues. So now I'll talk about some of the things that were broken on it. So first thing I noticed, went to open the tailgate, handle came right off in my hand. So I immediately put a new tailgate handle on there. I was able to get that, next day on Amazon, not a big deal. The exhaust has rotted off of it at the mufflers, you can see. And previous owner kept the front bumper, which is good. So I did do a custom, and I did a video on this at the time, this custom kind of off-road steel bumper. It was meant for a Jeep Wrangler though, so it doesn't fit quite right. It does look pretty good, and it definitely, the ground clearance is crazy, but I kind of like the stock look. So what I'm going to be doing is removing that, putting the stock bumper on, which, since there is a body lift, it did require some custom brackets anyway, which they're just welded into this bumper, so I got to try to salvage those. I am putting a brand new set of headlights in the front, just taking out these aftermarket ones, putting in some factory headlights, and these are cracked, so I'll just put some new marker lights in there, kind of clean the front end up, clean the grill up. Under the hood, not a whole lot of work is needed. I'm gonna just flush some fluids. There is an exhaust leak on the passenger side at the header. It needs a new gasket. I think there's a broken exhaust stud, so I'll try to get that repaired. The front end needs some work. This Ranger came with the Dana 35 axle, which is good, but needs at least a tie rod. The wheel bearings are loose, so they need probably repacked and tightened up. I did replace the bearings and rotors when I had the truck, and since then it's had new pads put on it. So just get the front end tightened up, get an alignment done, have it so it drives down the road a little bit better. Steering wheel is a little bit crooked. Does need a new blower motor resistor. The fan only works on high on the inside. Mainly it's a bunch of little stuff like that. There was a broken shackle in the rear on the passenger side. That's the first thing I fixed. They're actually not too bad. So if you look at the driver's side here, there's really, they're not rusted out, but the one on the passenger side was, and it was rusted out bad. So that is brand new right there, but I don't know how long it had been that way because the whole rear end had kind of shifted a little bit, so I had to bring it back into alignment, get that bolted in, but it's going down the road good. There is some surface rust on the body. You can see it's starting to come through right here, so this is getting kind of thin on metal right here. Not really a whole lot to do about this except replace the bed. The bed itself is kind of rusting pretty bad on the bottom side, but you know, the frame and under the bed has been reinforced right here with some welding and some new steel. Like I said, the frame of the truck is perfect. The bed is the only thing that really could probably be replaced, but for now, not really worried about that. Even the doors are clean, you know, for how the truck looks. Inside, decent. It's got seat covers. It's got leather seats in it. Probably out of Explorer, the Power, and I covered them when I had it because they weren't the greatest looking things. But Explorer gauges says 176 on the odometer. Obviously, that's the body of the truck because with the engine and transmission swap, you know, there's no real way to know the mileage on that, especially since it was done before I got it. The donor vehicle was a 97 Explorer 5.0, so pretty much you always got to look that up. So it's funny, I keep two owner's manuals in the glove box. There's one for the 95 Ranger, one for the 97 Explorer. Got out of a junkyard. Other issues, side window over here basically fell down on the previous owner. He put a 2x4 in there to keep it up. Needs a window regulator. I've got that here. I've got all the parts pretty much to fix everything. Needs a power door lock actuator for the driver's side. Door locks don't work. This one works. It's a little slow, but it works. So we're gonna roll with it for now. So window over here, power door lock over there. It does have the keyless entry system that I put on it. That works fine. The factory one was going nuts and I ripped it all out. There's just some little things that I got to do to get this thing back to where I want it to be and keep it going down the road nicely. So there'll be some more projects, some more videos that comes out of this truck. So if you started following my channel because of the 5.0 Ranger, welcome back. It's been about 8 years and we're gonna have some more videos on this as well. It's too bad Ford didn't have the factory option. This is how a Ranger should sound when it starts. Except for the exhaust leak. You get the idea. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. We'll see you next time.